Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Saṅgha. We have a great one planned today. We'll start with a show and tell from one of you, a wonderful song sent in which is enjoyable. Then we'll continue reading through the 7th chapter of the 2nd act of The Journey Home. It's a long one. That's our Shravana. Then for Manana, we'll have some Q&A. And instead of doing a listening to Rumi poetry, today is our once a week series where we go through the Bhagavad Gita with this Vedanta Acharya from the BAPS. And then we'll have a question of the day, and we'll end with a lovely listening to the recitation of the Sri Rudram Namakam, ancient Vedic hymn. I'm excited for our Saṅgha today. Grateful to be here. I hope to be your humble host, and if I'm not humble, you can hold me accountable to that, please. Namaste, dear Sky Guardian. Yes. Yeah. Shiva is prehistoric, even. Allow me to start with an invocation of another Vedic hymn, a Shanti mantra from the Taittiriya and Katha Upanishads. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Divine protect us both together. May the Divine nourish us both together. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Om. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment. And may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Welcome, dear Tattvamasi. Thank you for the quintet of roses that you sent. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I don't know why your name isn't fully showing. Dear Andre, thank you for your baker's dozen worth of finger hearts. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, dear Jay. Hello, Athena. Feeling very relaxed at the moment. Hello, Assad. And namaste, dear Goofy Goosey. Happy to have you here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Noor. May peace be upon you all. I like that. I like to open the space for feelings. If anyone wants to share what they're going through, you are always welcome to do so, so I know what kind of space to hold. Whatever you are going through in life at this moment, if it's challenging, I hope you remember that this too shall pass. And your feelings are always a valid expression of what you're going through at this moment. Welcome, Kent. I like that show. Along goodbye, dear Rhiannon Clark. May you have a wonderful sleep. A music grant. That's exciting. Very exciting. I will pray for your music grant. For some reason, all your names are truncated for me today. Gotta click on you. Green eggs and fried brains. Thank you for your heart, mate. Jaya Sitaram. Dear Joni, you ask, if I could remove anything from the world, what would I pick? I would remove the need for anything to be removed from the world. And then it would be automatically perfect. Dear Athena, you share that some people say that something will shift energetically in 2030. What do I think about that? I think you manifest it. If we all agree that that will happen, then that will happen. If we all agree that a shift will happen tomorrow, then it'll happen tomorrow. It is our collective consciousness that creates these things. Well, I wonder where mosquitoes place in the food chain, dear Jay. Otherwise, I'd have to agree with you. Aww, I would not choose to remove you, dear Sky Guardian G. You are a wonderful addition to this world that I'm grateful to live in with you. I must have good karma to know you. I'd also like to set the intention, since I haven't quite yet, for us to come together in the Saṅgha today as fellow students of life, regardless of our background, identity, orientation, ethnicity, belief system, etc., to uplift each other, relate in one another's experiences, pardon me, and share positive sentiments. Oh, I look forward to seeing that, dear Noor. Much love, dear Rihanna. Thank you for your heart name. Hare Krishna. Hello, Jacqueline. Ultimately, one cannot remove anything from the universe, because to do so would violate the conservation of information, conservation of mass, conservation of energy, all these conservation rules, these symmetries. But we can add something to the world. We can add love. We can add harmony. We can add inclusivity. Namaste, dear Stevie G. Welcome, Steffi. I don't think I have heard of him before, dear Noor, but maybe if I see his face, I'll remember. So, as many of you know, I like to begin my lives with Shravana, which is the portion of a Saṅgha, of a gathering dedicated to listening. And we'll be listening to another section of the book, The Journey Home, in a minute. But I'd first like to listen to a song submitted by one of you for show and tell, since I like to leave a space to share things that are important to you. So allow me to set that up right now. Today's show and tell comes from the only ass who is here now, Stevie G. You have made a new song for us, which is called Moved On Through a Breakup, featuring your friend, Tyler Fisher. I'll read to you what you had sent me about it. So this song is one of the 2 songs I made with a former friend of mine, although I wouldn't say we have a friendship anymore. These 2 songs must be shared with the world, as these songs are just so captivating to me and had lots of work done to them. This song is basically showing all the phases of a breakup, of a relationship, at a fast pace, of course. This song isn't out yet, but is dropping on all platforms on the 28th of February, so please stay tuned and enjoy. I'll turn down our jazz noir so we can listen to your song. I did have a listen through it already, and I must say I did quite enjoy it. Here it is.
Wait, this is sad song, right?
Yeah.
Alright. I believed every word that you said, hoping that my heart could be patched. But there you go, the walls came down, in and out, a burning house, but I still see a lonely silhouette. And maybe we still be together if I close my eyes and take a deeper breath. And I dive deep just to get a grip of what I'm holding on to, what is barely left. 'Cause I was your misery.
Baby, stay with me. I am on my knees. I need you now. Can you hear me cry out? Please stop me from crying.
But maybe we could see the future, baby. I'm just needing you in my arms. And I feel like this disease can come back right back to me. And you got me begging on my knees.
But listen, dear, I want to tell you that I have moved on through onto better new days, getting better at fast pace. Life is working in my favor. With all these lessons, you're my savior.
Talk to you like you're a fucking dog, bro. Why'd I do that? Let me just get the fucking spray can, bro. Namaste, Stevie. No. Bad.
But listen, dear.
I love that ending so much. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Stevie G. I enjoyed this. And if any of you ever have anything to share for show and tell, I welcome you regardless of what kind of thing you want to share. The submission form is in the link tree in my bio. So that's the first part of our Shravana. Let's get our jazz music back in here. And thank you, dear P. Flomatics, for the heart me that you sent. Om Kring Kali Kaye Namaha. Thank you everyone for listening. Namaste, dear Miyananda, and everyone that joined while we were listening. Oh, is it the beginning of Ramadan, dear Noor? Hello, the Countess. And thank you, dear Gina, for your pair of roses. Om Bharam Bhairvaya Namo Namo. The end of February. That makes sense. It is Heart Chakra Day in our Saṅgha, dear Stevie G. Perfect day for that. Music is an excellent way to express your feelings. All creative projects are. The only way we can get our energies to raise from our root chakra is to pass through our sacral. Sacral is associated with our intimacy, but also with our creative tendencies. So if we can't pass through it because there's some blockage of intimacy there, then we must rise through it through some creative means. Otherwise, it returns the energy back to the root. You know, I probably can do a Ramadan from sunrise to sunset. Given that I usually don't eat until quite late in the day anyway. Hello, dear Shakira. What is a Ramadan? Asks Stevie G. Well, I don't know much about it other than that it's the month of prayer and fasting for Muslims. And it's a way of getting closer with Allah. As we deny our mind the simple pleasure of eating as soon as we feel like we can change our relationship with the mind of one being a master to one being a servant. When the mind feels like it's a master, that's big trouble. Because the mind is a terrible master. Lead us into all sorts of trouble. But when the mind is a kind of servant, not a servant in the sense of indentured servitude, but in the sense of voluntary giving, it's a beautiful state to be in. Hello, dear Danny. Dear Emma, you ask, do I think time is no longer relevant once there is enlightenment or truth? At the absolute level of reality, there is no time. And once you realize that to be your true nature, time does not pass for you. But it still does for your body. It still does for your mind. And we still have duties in the world. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about enlightenment is that you're no longer a worldly person at some level. Because the world doesn't merely disappear. Yes, it's a dream of God, but the dream continues. You only become lucid in that sense. But you still have to show up on time to your worldly responsibilities. You still have to make sure that your body gets this much rest. All of that continues. I wondered, dear Stevie G, there's a lot of overlap in religious holidays, especially if they're based around the changing of seasons, which would be the same for everyone in the northern or southern hemisphere, respectively. Where did I get all this wisdom? Asks Saif. Where does anyone get wisdom? It's just in the air. It's just requires attention. Doesn't require any memorization of any textbook nor any sort of course to teach you these things. You just observe what is. I like that, Noor. I like your description of Ramadan. Yeah. You know, I could have slept longer, dear Shri Hashijitarkar, but I'm happy to be here. Grateful for another day. Thank you, Julia, for your heart, mate. Om Bhram Hanumate Namah. Dear Shakira, thank you for your heart, me. Radhe, Radhe. Dear Stanshevici, that's how I pronounce your name. Please tell me if I can do so in a better way. Thank you for your heart, me, and finger heart. Om Gamalir Mahakalikai. Thank you for another friendship necklace. And Banjo, thank you for your heart, me. Svetlana is your name. Good to know. Thank you. I was reading your username. Hare Ram. Now let's continue where we left off in our book, The Journey Home, and then we can dive into our Q&A portion. We continue the 7th chapter of the 2nd act of The Journey Home. It's a long chapter, this one. Let's dive right into where we left off. May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. Sleeping on riverbanks or under trees and begging for some cheap grains to eat. This was the life I had chosen. Except for the times I succumbed to dysentery, I was in fair health. The cloth given to me in Rishikesh, which I still wore, had gradually faded and tattered. My hair had grown longer. My feet were calloused and scarred from roaming the jungles, fields, villages, and cities barefoot. All I carried now was a wooden begging bowl, a walking stick, a cloth bag filled with books, and the religious picture I had bought with my last money. But my heart soared with joy because I believed so deeply in the goal I pursued. Life was a school, and I had become its eager student. Something inside pushed me forward to see more and learn more. Something inside probed me to wander from place to place and person to person, not letting me settle down. Who or what was that something? I believed it was God, the presence who, throughout my life, had always been with me, whom I prayed to as a child, feeling him so distant but so close, whom I shamefully betrayed again and again as a teenager, and whom I now long to know and to love. In Varanasi, I heard of another holy place, of Shiva, Pashupatinath, where it was said that, on one particular night, one's prayers are sure to be fulfilled. Both the promise and adventure thrilled me. I traveled about 250 miles northeast by train and on the rears of trucks to Kathmandu Valley in Nepal, where thousands of pilgrims flocked to the temple of Pashupatinath. Being a foreigner, I was rejected entry. But I had come so far and was determined to worship that night and pray for a blessing, to find my way to God's love. At much risk, I covered myself with sacrificial ashes and entered. It was a profound experience that also had me questioning the foundations of my faith and my direction in life. The next morning, I set out to cross back into India. I was heading about 200 miles south of Pashupatinath in the state of Bihar to Bodh Gaya, the holiest place on earth for Buddhists. 2,500 years ago, Prince Siddhartha Gautama escaped the luxuries of his royal palace to seek a solution to the sufferings of birth, old age, disease, and death. For 6 years he lived as an ascetic, enduring self-inflicted pain, starvation, and exposure to the elements, all in pursuit of liberation. Realizing the limitations of that path, he ultimately came to Gaya, where he sat in the meditative lotus posture under a peepal tree and vowed to not move until his goal of enlightenment was attained. Like Satan's temptations to Jesus in the wilderness, Maya, the power of illusion, tempted Siddhartha with every possible pleasure. But he remained fixed in his resolve. Under the sacred peepal tree in Bodh Gaya, he became the Buddha, the enlightened one. From that time on, the tree has been worshipped as the Bodhi tree, or the tree of enlightenment. Under the Bodhi tree, I studied books on Lord Buddha's teachings and gratefully meditated from sunrise to sunset. Meditating under the Bodhi tree, I felt that a flow of dynamic energy was lifting me out of my body and mind into space. In the 1960s, authors like D.T. Suzuki and Alan Watts were popularizing Zen Buddhism in the West. I had studied some of their writings and found its simplicity and directness appealing. When it came to my attention that a Zen master from Japan was teaching the way of Zen in Bodh Gaya, I was excited to have the chance to attend his lectures. About 15 students, half Indian and half Western, assembled in the meditation room, eagerly anticipating our first sight of the master. A bell rang, and the revered Japanese teacher entered. His head was shaven, and he wore long, flowing black robes. Carrying a bamboo rod in hand, he slowly sat on the floor, back erect. A shaft of sunlight highlighted his striking features as he addressed us. "I will be your master. Your master will teach you the original way of Zen as it has been passed down from a long tradition." The rhythmic way he spoke had a hypnotic effect. "The source of all suffering is desire," he began, "and desire arises from the mind's attachment to the senses. Freedom is to empty the mind of all thoughts. To have no mind or thought is satori, the empty, liberated state." His eyes shut tightly in concentration as he explained that Zen is to understand the meaning of life directly, without being distracted by logical thought or words. "You are Buddha," he said, "but you must discover it yourself. All beings are Buddha, as ice in essence is water." He recalled, "The great D.T. Suzuki has written that the practice of Zen means a life of humility, a life of labor, a life of service, a life of prayer and gratitude, and a life of meditation." He then described his method of discipline. "Your master will be strict, and you must obey his every word and observe silence at all times. Yes?" Everyone nodded. He began to lay down the law. "You must pay no tribute to the senses, no sex, no intoxicants, no games, and no music. You will eat only when and what your master gives you." The new students began to squirm while the seniors reassured them. He continued, "Your master will teach you with koans, paradoxical puzzles that will liberate you from rational thought. Your master will teach you kinhin, walking meditation, and zazen, sitting meditation. There will be 3 sessions of group meditation or zazen a day, 1 to 2 hours each. You will be absolutely still. Any motion will be corrected by the punishment of your master's rod." folding his hands on his lap. He then taught us a technique to empty our minds by sitting and concentrating on the intersection of the floor and the wall. Nothing else. When your master rings the bell, you begin. You will end only when your master rings the second bell. In the first evening session, my shoulder ached, so I moved it slightly. Whack! The bamboo stick lashed my shoulder. I never moved again. Anyone who moved was disciplined with the bamboo rod of chastisement. As our limbs ached and mosquitoes feasted on our blood, the whack of wood against flesh was quite common. Finally, we were saved by the master's bell. All the students surrendered to the point of shaving their heads. Everyone but me. I did not have the heart to commit my life like others. I just didn't have the conviction or will to do so. When the 14-day course ended, I thanked the master and departed. I felt the regimented lifestyle he demanded and the almost constant meditation to be a good experience, but there was something I couldn't name in the experience that made me suspicious. Some days later, just coming out of meditation under the Bodhi tree, I met a young American couple, two of Master's faithful followers. When I asked how they were, the woman began to cry. "You won't believe what happened after you left the ashram," she said. I can't imagine. Under the Bodhi tree, I braced myself. With a long, heavy sigh, she sat down next to me and began her story. Late at night, Jonathan went outside to use the toilet. He happened to see something very, very strange. Rubbing her eyes, she paused to collect her emotions. "Do you remember Pam, one of his American disciples?" I nodded. "Well, she was entering the master's quarters. She came out nervously hours later. The next few nights, Jonathan hid in the banana grove to watch. To his dismay, he observed the same thing. When he broke the news to tell us, well, we felt we just had to interrogate her. Pam admitted the truth. Master was having a full-on affair with her every night. The young woman sobbed into a handkerchief and looked up at me again. We were betrayed. A sinking feeling came over me. She continued, relating how they had tested Master by secretly putting LSD in his tea. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Under the influence, he revealed himself for what he was. You should have heard him. He went berserk on a complete ego trip. She deepened her voice and shook her finger in my face in imitation of the Master. "You must obey only me. I am the enlightened one. All others are frauds. If you dare to question my words or actions, you are doomed." She finished by saying that all his disciples had left him. My heart pained. I lamented hearing such news about one of my teachers. After my American friends departed, I tried to make sense of it. The Zen Master had been extremely strict with his students, but not with himself. He had misrepresented a long tradition of sincere teachers. Unfortunately, such hypocrisy stains the image of all the world's great traditions. I thought, an irresponsible leader can break the hearts and faith of his followers and raise suspicion even toward those who are genuine. What pain his hypocrisy caused to those who trusted him, just to see what it has done to his own life. How essential it is to live what we believe. How vital it is to practice what we preach. let's pause our reading of the 7th chapter of the 2nd act of the journey home, There for Now. A very sobering lesson, one that we should always keep in mind, however. Thank you for listening. I look forward to hear how the story unfolds with you as we pick up the book again next time. And I welcome everyone that joined while we were listening. That ends our Shravana, the portion dedicated to listening. And now we can transition to Manana and discuss whatever is on our hearts and minds. Any insights or reflections, feel free to share. Radhanath Swami seems to have had a wild journey. You can say that again. Hello, dear Chloe. Heavy part of the story indeed, but an important lesson. These things do happen, and it's important that they are shared. We become incredibly vulnerable in spiritual spaces, and that vulnerability is never a green light to be taken advantage of by others. And whenever it does happen, we should always listen to those that have such experiences. The last thing we would want is for any of those stories to go unheard. It's a good mantra, Chloe, for Babaji. Kriyam Babaji Namah. Very pure. Thank you, dear P-Phlegmatics. Whilst we read, you had sent a rose and a TikTok and 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 a rose and a TikTok. Thank you for that. And for your patience in acknowledging your gift. Mani Padme Hom. And thank you. Dear Svetlana, thank you for the finger heart and the ice cream cone, the GG, the rose, another finger heart, and a quartet of hat and mustaches. Never expected, but deeply appreciated. Om Shrim Namah Shakti Shivaya. Dear Jacqueline, you share there was a part in the previous book, Hollywood to the Himalayas, when you thought something like that would happen to Sadhviji. Yes. Fortunately, it did not. She did have traumatic experiences when she was younger, the beginning of the book. But thankfully, her teacher never did anything like that to her. Dear Sergio, thank you for your Heart Me and Team bracelet. Radhe, Radhe. Andrew Davis, thank you for your Heart Me. Om Ganganapataye Namah. Dear Jaybird, you're wondering, how long will I be live? A good hour or more. I've been live for 40 minutes so far. I usually go live for at least a couple hours. Sky Guardian. What do we say about sharing drama and conspiracy theories? That's not the purpose of this space. Dear Mel, you're wondering if I've read the life and teachings of Masters of the Far East. If that's the name of a text, I have not heard that. But if you're wondering if I've learned from the life and teachings from Masters of the East, then I'm grateful to have, yes. It is a book series. Gotcha. No, I have not heard of it, actually. Hello, dear Lauren. Welcome, Lindsay. You don't have to praise the people that you dislike, Sky Guardian. But I do expect you not to speak unkindly behind their backs, even if they don't know you. It's not our duty in this life to ever be unkind to others. We can stand up for anyone who may have been affected by them. But the best way to stand up to someone is not to disrespect their character in any way, but to empower those whom they may have affected. Instead of bringing each other down until we're at the same level, let's raise each other up until we're at the same level. But we should empower the vulnerable, raise the voices of those who have been silenced, wish for them healing, create atmospheres of respect, mutual understanding. Hello, dear Marcy. Dear Lauren, you ask for the show and tell submission. Does the content have to be relevant to spirituality? No, not at all. You're welcome to share anything, because it's all spiritual. At the end of the day, if it comes from the heart, that is the place of our spirit, our access point. You could share just a picture of a beautiful sunset, share a song you've made, maybe something you've crocheted, like to see some cross-stitching. What's it called? Yeah. Paintings, poetry. Place for you to express your creativity. I'm very humbled that anyone would listen to me for so long. So I hope to, at the very least, hold space in each of these live streams for things that come from you. And the show and tell is one way to do that. You will start a needlepoint now, dear Noor. Well, if you ever want to share anything, everyone is welcome to. Thank you, Neangelo Pak, for your quartet of team cheers and a team power. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Ouch, you're done. Needlepoint career over. You're funny. If Noor wants to share their praying, that'd be wonderful, but it's a private thing too. I respect their privacy, their intimacy. When we do pray, it's not for others to listen generally, but for the divine to listen. But that would be a very sacred honor. Hello, dear BLX. I feel nostalgia here. It's nice to have you here again. How are you all feeling at this moment? I'd love to know if you want to share. Hello to all my silent viewers. And hello to one in particular silent viewer. You know who you are. Peaceful and loving. I'm happy to hear that, P-Flow. You're doing great, BLX, and you found someone who finally reciprocates the energy you give out, and for real this time. What a blessing that is. I'm very happy for you. You're feeling pretty chill, Lauren. I'm happy to hear that. You like stained glass, shares Taylor. Stained glass is a wonderful art medium. Yes, we did do a reading already, dear Mubi. But you can always listen to the playlist of the snippets of our reading. You like stained glass too, Neon Jello Pack. I love when the light gets colored by what it passes through. Dear Anne, you ask, what do I do for fun? This is what I do for fun. If you think this is my job, this is my play. I love doing this. Tattvamasi, you share. You're pretty awesome. And hopefully for a great day tomorrow. Aw. I believe in the greatness of your day tomorrow. You like turtles. I love turtles. They're cute. I've seen one on the island where I live. Vancouver Island. Only one time in the 16 years I've lived here. I was at this lake called Swan Lake, and there's this bridge that goes over top of the lake. And the lake is kind of swampy. And out from the bushes, the shrubbery, a good, I want to say, 200 yards away, there's this turtle that crept out of the bushes. And I didn't even know we had turtles on the island. So when I saw a turtle in the distance, I was like, what? What? There's a turtle. What are you doing? Where are all the turtles? And then it went back into the bushes before I could get my parents' attention. I think about that turtle often. Aw. I'm very grateful that you value this space, Emma. Dear Riri, you share, it's too hard to describe how you feel anymore. You love being alive. Well, that's enough. Dear Melinda, you are exhausted from work in the best way, ready for a long drive. Oh. Fulfilling. No, I did not bring the turtle home, but I brought him home in my heart. You have snapping turtles at your parents' cottage, dear Nyan. Hello, Strando. You love waiting for my reaction, Noor. Is there a musical named Swan Lake? It's funny, yeah. Place where I live called Swan Lake. Dear Tattwamasi, you ask what's the difference between the direct path versus not sure what the other path is called in Advaita. Are you asking about, since we are listening to the directness of Zen, that the differences between the non-duality of Zen versus the non-duality of Advaita, Vedanta? Is that your question? And oh my goodness, Anne, that's quite a thing to see. Welcome, Jacob. Happy you find a calmness here. Aw. Dear Emma, you're wondering if I've ever visited Arizona. No, I've never been to America. In fact, I've never left Canada. I've been here all my life. Dear Tara, you share the swamp is one of your favorite biomes. It is a good biome, isn't it? And I like the word biome. I like the swamp biome in Minecraft where you can get slimes. You got a video of 4 baby turtles side by side, Nyangelo. It was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle moment. That's awesome. Welcome, Raven. Stevie G, you share you saw a tortoise on a nature walk. I love the turtle talk. Yeah, I wish that turtle well. Well, I'm glad you liked my math content, dear Nicole. Thank you for being a part of it, Strando. Peace to you, dear Adri. Thank you. Yeah, no, I haven't heard of the ballet called Swan Lake. Tattwamasi, you share direct path is of direct inquiry with intellect, and the other is meditating on Brahman and mantras. Well, I know that Ramana Maharshi taught a very direct path. Atma Vicharya. I don't think it's super traditional though. Ramana Maharshi was not a traditional guru. He was a mystic. He drew from his direct experience. I have a preference for dissolving into love, a kind of seva mixed bhakti, mixed karma yoga. I'm not so concerned about moksha. You grew up in a swamp, dear Raven. Did you? Do you happen to know anyone named Donkey? Yeah, Yes, I do know that meme, Noor. I like turtles. My day is going well. Thank you, Lauren. How has your day been? Dear Raven, you ask, do I believe it's possible there is ancestral karma on the US and other colonized regions? Well, it's no surprise that the answer is yes when we just remember that karma means action. Have the actions of colonialists, colonizers, left lasting impressions even hundreds of years later? Yes, absolutely. The phalam, the fruit of the karma, is still coming to fruition. We are still working through the consequences of those actions. Tattwamasi, you share the direct path involves going deep into questions like, who am I? I think so. Yes. Dear Emma, you share you fell asleep to the live last night and dreamt of math all night. Well, I know exactly what part you fell asleep at then. That's funny. I'm glad you like the music, Matt. Yeah. Can karma be passed down? Asks Jack. Whenever we translate it into English, I think the answer becomes obvious. Can actions be passed down? Yeah. Do we carry the consequence of past actions from our ancestors? Absolutely. Can we also break free of those cycles? Generational trauma? Are we free to create our own path in life? That too. Thank you, Ionica, for the rose that you sent. Ashwini Bhyam Namah. Dear Victory Weaver, Runic, thank you for your friendship necklace. Om Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namaha. Pardon my hiccup. Hello, dear Mariham. You had a pretty good day, dear Lauren. I'm happy to hear that. I believe you, dear Riri. Dear Vicky, you asked if I could turn the music down just a tad. Thank you for asking. Yes, I can. There. Dear Sally, you had asked, can God help your brother? Of course. The divine is love, and love does not discriminate. But is your brother receptive to that love? That's his journey. I don't know what he's going through. But whatever his decisions are, certainly his. And we must validate his free will. And I pray for you and your acceptance of this and the healing of your brother. I love that, Noor. When you ask, who am I? And strip it all away, I believe all that's left is the divine. It's beautiful. You're like the jazz, Nick. I'm happy to hear that. I like this Jedi robe. It's very, very comfy. Dear Titan, you ask, am I vegan? I am not vegan, but I strive for what's called a sattvic diet. Thank you, dear Jocelyn, for the trio of tiny tinies that you send. Hello, Yasmina. How are you? Hello, the green light. Much love. Namaste. You're good. I'm happy to hear that, Yasmina. And you ask, what protein do I consume? Not much. I probably could be getting a lot more. I made some cookies last night with some vegan protein powder. They're pretty good. But I eat a lot of nuts too. Nuts, and I do eat dairy. But what goes into my body is not a reflection of how other people should treat their body. We all have different bodies, different gut microbiomes, different necessities. Dear I Am, you share that non-philosophy explains all philosophical concepts. Don't I think? I don't think. Right? Dear Tattvamasi, you share, I said that I'm not looking for enlightenment, but could that be a direction and not a destination? Well said. I'm not looking for it as a destination, but as a direction. We're all going that way. And thank you, Shelby, for your rose. Om Kali Mahakali Kalike Parameshwari Sarvanandakari Devi Narayani Namostute. Dear Verity, thank you for your heart, mate. Ram Ram. Oh, I love chickpeas. Yeah, I ate a lot of chickpeas, dear Lauren. In fact, chickpeas are one of my favorite things. I sometimes dream of chickpeas the size of, like, cantaloupes. Just hop, hop. Dear hand fingers. Yep, still there. You ask, what should you do when you're constantly told you have too many emotions and too many feelings, that you don't hear others? Well, the hearing others is definitely an important thing to contemplate on. If someone in your life isn't feeling heard, it's certainly important for them to be heard. But it sounds like they don't have a lot of space right now to hold your feelings. The other thing they said, having too many feelings, that's not a thing. You cannot have too many feelings, but a person can have other things going on in life where they don't have enough room to hold feelings of yours. And if we pair that with the fact that they said that there's something that you're not hearing, then it seems like they've got something that they're working through first before they can hold space for your healing. And I'm not saying that you have to hear them out, because if they are in any way disrespecting you, it might not be your job to hear them. Perhaps this is a person that is not meant to share what they're going through with you, because you are already going through something yourself, and you need that space to work on yourself, and they need that space to work on themselves. Otherwise, I would communicate. Whatever is being unheard, listen to that. And nothing has to be changed about you or them. Just holding space. And if they can't hold space for you, then why should they expect you to hold space for them? Please be empowered to set necessary boundaries with those that are unkind to you. Namaskaram, dear dancing aurora borealis. The comment character limit is definitely a challenge, dear Jack. You ask if I have a favorite non-religious philosopher, only excluding, because religion can be its own philosophy. It's a good question. Yes, I do, and right now it's you. We can keep exploring that too, dear hand fingers. I don't want anyone to feel like they only ever get one comment. I'm just going through them. If I start reading someone else's comments, that doesn't mean your time is up. Just to make sure that everyone feels attended to. Hello, look at this little guy. Look at this new little guy. Dear Miyananda, you share your friend transitioned from life yesterday. Car accident. What mantra would help their spirit? Ram Nam Satya Hai. That's what they chant in Hindi when someone is departing to guide their spirit. Ram Nam Satya Hai. That would be probably in Sanskrit. Rama Nama Satya. Very simple. You just add in the schwas and you don't need the hey. Rama Nama Satya. It means the name of the Lord is the truth. Rama Nama Satya. R-A-A-M-A, Rama. N-A-A-M-A, Nama. S-A-T-Y-A, Satya. Rama Nama Satya. In Hindi, they often don't chant their schwas, though. They're a schwa-deleted language, so they just say, Ram Nam Satya Hai. Dear Jack, your philosophical statement numero uno is mac and cheese rocks. Yeah, heaven, yeah. Dear hand fingers, you share you're just really emotional right now. You just have a lot of feelings, and it feels like you're told that your person is only filled with your own emotions, that they don't have space for their own, and everything they do is because of how you feel. But that's not what you're wanting. You just want to be heard, and you're told you're insecure, and you just want to be better. Nothing you've described so far sounds like your limitation. It sounds like an inability for the other person to hold space for what you're going through. And the fact that you've directed that internally to feel like there's something about you that needs to change is not a healthy expression from them. And so I'm sorry that you've been given that impression. Perhaps that comes from your past. I don't want to make this person out to be your enemy. It could be something that you could listen from them in a way that would make you feel better. But if this impression truly comes from them, that there's something about you that needs to change, then I hope you know that you deserve better than that. Now, I'm not saying it can't work out, but I am saying that as it stands, from what I've understood, and my understanding could be limited too, it is limited. It sounds like you're absolutely valid to have a lot of emotions. A lot of people in the world right now are going through a lot emotionally. And I don't blame the other person for not having space for your emotions, but I hope you know that you are super valid for having them. No one gets to choose how emotional they are at any given moment. You can either repress it or express it, and I hope you don't repress it. You deserve to express it. But dear Miananda, I will be praying for you and your friend. Such accidents are reminders for us to always show love to our loved ones, because you never know what might happen that's out of anyone's control. What is within our control is to always be loving, because the last thing we would want is to end on terms that would make us feel like if we only had another chance. But anyway, you do. Your heart is your portal to send love. When our loved ones make an impression on our heart, they move in a very spiritual sense. Our heart becomes our hub for all the people that we love. Dear Anne, you had shared that you have a child with ADHD and you're always afraid to hurt their feelings. How can you get over that? By validating their feelings. That whatever they're feeling, you let them know that that's perfectly allowed, and that they're not supposed to be feeling anything other than what they're feeling at any given moment. You can't choose what another person is feeling. In fact, a person cannot really choose what they're feeling. The only thing we can do is validate others. We can choose to hold space for those feelings. And the person can choose to not resist their feelings, accept them. I think it can be difficult at times for parents when they want their children to be happy, but then that happiness might feel like an expectation. And that if they're not happy, that's a poor reflection on your parenting. But I think the best thing a parent can do when their child is not happy is allow them to not be happy. And what that means is that if they're sad, that you comfort them in their sadness. Instead of ever saying something like, don't cry or don't be sad, you can say, you can cry. You're allowed to be sad. I'm here for you. If they're angry, instead of trying to change that anger, inquire, be curious, be open-minded. What are you angry about? And not take it personally if it happens to be related to you in any way. If you feel like it's a problem for you to always be expressing your feelings, dear hand fingers, then I don't think the problem is with you. Dear Diamond Rose, you ask, why do dead people bother you? They keep coming in your mind. You try to direct focus elsewhere, but it's consistent. Well, don't direct your focus elsewhere. Any thought, if you try to repress, it only gets stronger. Instead, stay with that thought. Be curious about it. Inquire into why does it keep appearing, and it's okay. It will go away once you discover what it has to show you. And what it has to show you may be uncomfortable at first, but it will become peaceful as you accept it and integrate it and attend to it with the fullness of your heart. Dear Daniela, you ask, how do you get over romantic jealousy? By trusting your partner. By feeling how loved you are by them, how precious that is. And if the jealousy comes from someone who's with an ex, then you could trust them too. That if you truly loved them, then their happiness wasn't because it came from you. Their happiness was your priority, regardless of where it came from. And if they had the decision to separate from you and experience their happiness with another person, then you would want that for them too. Because if it makes them happy, then that's what you want in your love. If your love is truly pure, then it's agape. It's unconditional. It's a love where someone else could love them, and you'd want that for them because you want them to feel loved, not just feel loved by you. But that's a state that's very hard to get to. A state that requires a lot of personal honesty, self-reflection, and tears. Lots of tears, crying, heartbreak, and processing those emotions. And thank you, Tan Hao Yu, for the heart me that you had sent. Jayasitaram. And Gina. Thank you for your rose and heart me too. Om Namah Parashaktaye. Dear Kilobyte, you ask, how do I feel about free will? The highest free will we have is our association, what we choose to associate with in this moment. Even if everything else in this moment is decided for, what do you make of it to you? What does this moment mean to you? That is your highest free will. Dear Tiffany, you're wondering, have I received empowerment? Well, I feel very empowered in love. There's a sneeze coming, wait for it. Pardon me. But yes, dear Diamond Rose, if ever you have a thought that's disturbing, don't try to ignore it. Invite it in with love, and it will settle. Hold space for it. Unfortunately, the perhaps counterintuitive reality is that the more we repress something, the more we give it power over us. The more we try to exclude something from our life, the greater of an ability it has to control us. And so the complement to that is, invite it, love it, accept it. And that's the way of taking your power back. That I am going to not only keep my peace, but share it with you. And it completely quells the waters of turbulence. Kilobyte, you had asked, how can you tell if someone has truly forgiven you? That they no longer beat themselves up over it. That they are relieved. Because true forgiveness is never about the other person. It's about relieving yourself of what you held against the other person. So are they free of that weight? You're welcome, Kilobyte. Good evening, Disneyland Paris. When you get to sleep, I hope you rest beautifully. Dear beautiful butterfly, you share that sometimes, no matter how much you love something, you will not receive love back from it. And true love is always given without expectation of returns. It is not about what can I get from you. It's about what can I give to you. Dear Stevie G, not sure if I saw your comment, but let me take a pilgrimage back up. I see the last time you asked if I saw your comment. Many minutes ago. I saw that you told me I'd love Maryland. That you saw a tortoise on a nature walk. And you're curious who the silent listener is. Oh, you mean Instagram message? Oh. I haven't looked yet. No, sorry. I haven't gone through my Instagram messages. Dear Mubi, you share, whenever I say hold space, it reminds you of the Wicked movie Promotion. I did watch Wicked. I forget what scene you're referring to, unfortunately. Dear Raven, you've discovered an appropriate title for me. Humanist Interfaith Spiritual Teacher. HIST. That's very kind of you. I still consider myself a student, so we'd have to change it to HIS. Spiritual student. Welcome, R2D2. Hello, Christina. Yes. I love snakes. Some of you may know that we have another segment that we do, which is listening to poetry by Rumi. But in place of that, we have a weekly segment that I like to do with you. We're going to read through another section of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And not me, by the way. This will be done by a Vedantacharya, proper trained teacher in Vedanta. Let's transition for another Bhagavad Gita session. We'll do Rumi tomorrow. I'm sorry, Noor. This is session 2 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita lecture series by Vedantacharya Yogananda Swami from the BAPS, Swami Narayan Sanstha. I'm not sure if jazz music is the appropriate vibe for this, so I'm going to turn it down and I'll bring up the video now. I'll fill you in on the last time we went through the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this ancient scripture. And it was just backstory. You really didn't miss much. We haven't actually gone into the spiritual teachings yet. Arjuna in his chariot had asked his charioteer Krishna to approach the front of the army. And he began lamenting to Krishna, saying, I don't want to fight. These are family. I don't want to hurt my family, but I also feel like it's my duty to stand up for what's right. I have no I have no desire to inflict harm on another being. You can see Krishna is ready to reveal the secrets of the Atma, the true self. So let's dive right into it.
Sarvopanishado gavo Dogda Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Tuktam Gitamrutam Mahat. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us in this Srimad Bhagavad Gita lecture series. This is the second lecture in the lecture series. In the first lecture...
Sorry, I'm just turning on captions for you. The captions probably won't work for the Sanskrit if any Sanskrit words are mentioned, which there probably will be a lot of, but just to get you an impression.
Lecture, we learned about the war that was happening inside of Arjuna, the conflict, and how he turned that war, that Vishad, into Vishad Yog. In our own lives, we all have some conflict, whether it be with a person, a place, or even our own identity. Something is at war within us. Now, the more we can empathize with Arjuna, the more we'll be able to grasp Krishna Bhagavan's guidance from the Bhagavad Gita. So every day, don't just think that we're at a physical war. Try to find out where you are at conflict with someone else, with something else. And if not with someone externally, then internally, how are you at conflict with yourself? The more we can relate to Arjuna, empathize with him, the more we'll be able to imbibe the guidance of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. At the beginning of chapter 2, until now, Arjuna has laid out dozens of reasons why he doesn't want to fight in the war. He's on his knees, he's sweating, his mouth is dry, his skin is burning, he can't stand up. And Krishna Bhagavan looks at him, he laughs. But Krishna Bhagavan sees more than just his physical body. Krishna Bhagavan doesn't just see the symptoms, he can see into his heart, to the root of the disease. He sees that Arjuna has moh, krupaya paraya vishto. Vishidan idam abravit. Everything he's telling me from this place, while he's being infatuated, from a place of distress. For us, if we saw Arjuna in this pitiful state, we would think that he's just dehydrated. All he needs is a glass of orange juice, because he can't stand up, his mouth is dry, his skin is burning, he must have low blood sugar, he's dehydrated. If we give him a glass of juice, he'll be fine. Now that's what we see, because we can only see his physical body. But Bhagavan can see beyond that. And in the first couplet, the first shlok of the chapter, second chapter, he says, Tam tatha krupaya vishtam ashru purna kulekshanam. Even though his eyes are full of tears, he can see the infatuation. He can see the moh. He can see the distress that's lying underneath all of it. And from this, we understand a very important lesson, that whenever we have a problem, don't treat the symptoms. Instead, treat the disease. There's a book by the author Randy Pausch, and the book is called The Last Lecture. It's based on an idea at Carnegie Mellon University. Every year, the university selects one of its professors to imagine that this was their last life on Earth, last year on Earth. And in your last year, what advice would you give your students? One year, by chance, they selected Randy Pausch to imagine that it was his last year on Earth.
Thank you, Tattvamasi. Moha means love, attachment.
And to feel that he was going to give his last lecture to his students. After being given this opportunity to speak in front of his students, sometime later he was actually diagnosed with cancer. And so what he was supposed to merely visualize was actually going to happen to him. The university offered. They said, you don't have to give this lecture, but he felt that no, now it's actually happening in my life. I want to give this lecture from a place of absolute truth. And in his book, based on his lecture, one of the chapters is called Treat the Disease, Not the Symptoms. He gives an example from his own life. A fellow professor who he was working with, she must have slipped into some debt. And because of the debt, she also had depression, frustration, tension, stress. To alleviate her stress, she started taking classes in yogasam and pranayam, deep breathing, meditation. Those classes helped alleviate the stress. And over time, those classes did have a positive impact on her life. She was speaking about these classes to Randy Posh, and Professor Posh said, "How much do you pay for the classes?" She explained, "This is how much money I pay for these regular classes." Professor Posh said, "How much debt are you in?" "This is how much debt I'm in." And then Posh said, "If you do the math, if you stop these classes, you save this much money. And in place of these classes, if you took on a small second job, you would earn this much money. And in this period of time, you would actually earn all the money you need to pay off all the debt you have and actually get rid of the actual cause of your stress and frustration." What we do in our lives, if we have a problem at home, our typical solution isn't to solve the problem. Instead, it's to distract ourselves from the problem and watch a movie instead. If we want 2 hours of happiness, we watch a movie. If we want 2 days of happiness, we'll go on a short vacation. But we don't realize that when we come home, the problem is still waiting for us there. We can't run from our problems. By treating the symptoms and not treating the disease, all we're doing is putting band-aids, but we're not actually getting to the situation and the root of it. Krishna Bhagavan sees the symptoms, but he doesn't treat them. He goes deeper, and he sees the despair, and he realizes that this is my opportunity to cure him of despair forever, to bring him out of this place. These are two people who are living the same life and having the same external experience. Krishna and Arjuna, they're related. And every reason Arjuna has not to fight the war is every single reason Krishna has not to fight the war. Everyone has the same family members on the opposite side. So just as many of Arjuna's family members who are going to die are just as many of Krishna's family members who are going to die. And yet one is crying and one is laughing. That's the difference. That's what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Right now in life we may be crying, but we can get to the place where in the same situation we can laugh at it. Krishna Bhagavan sees Arjuna in this pitiful state, and the first thing he tells him, he says, "Klebya masma gamaha partha, netat vayupapadyate." That you in this pitiful state, it does not befit you. What you're doing right now, it doesn't look good on you. Get up. Uttishta parantapa. Swami Vivekananda says that this one part can actually be considered the most important part of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Netat vayupapadyate. This doesn't look good on you. This doesn't befit you. One thought about where I stand in society, where I stand as a person amongst my family, where I stand as a person in Hindu Dharma, who I am, that sense of identity. If we have a good, strong sense of identity, then we'll automatically know what to do, what not to do. Many years ago, Pramukh Swami Maharaj was traveling through North America, and he met a devotee who was a Vaishnav. When he met that Vaishnav, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, in a natural way, asked him, "Do you wear a kanthi? 2 strings of tulsi around your neck to represent your Vaishnav faith?" The devotee said, "No, I don't wear that. But I won't wear one from your hand either because I am a strict Vaishnav." Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, "I'm not trying to force you to wear one from my hand. I'm just asking." And then Pramukh Swami Maharaj asked a follow-up question. He said, "You've been living in America for many years now, and you're a staunch Vaishnav devotee. Do you drink alcohol? Do you eat meat? Do you smoke anything?" Because it's natural that in India you might be following all of these rules of dharma. But when you go to a faraway country and there's nobody here, the community is such where it's not frowned upon, you may have slipped. The man looked down and then he whispered a little quietly to Pramukh Swami. He said, "Yes, I do all of those things you said before. I now eat meat, I drink, I smoke, I do everything on different occasions." Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, "When I, a sadhu from India, offered to give you a kanthi, at that moment you remembered I'm a Vaishnav. But when somebody else offers you a glass of wine, at that time you can't remember who I am?" When you lose that sense of identity, that's when everything else slips away. Netatva yupapadide. Whenever you have a question, can I do this or not? Ask yourself, who am I? And does this befit me? Swami Vivekananda says there must be a very strong personal relationship between these two people, that Krishna Bhagavan can tell Arjuna this, that you don't look good like this. This doesn't befit you. And then he tells him, "Get up. Uttishta parantapa." He calls him parantapa, that you are the defeater of enemies. In this pitiful state, Krishna Bhagavan can still see that you are actually truly strong. You are brave. You are capable. Krishna Bhagavan, throughout the entire Gita, is always going to say words of enthusiasm to Arjuna. The word Gita is used for many different aspects of many different scriptures throughout Hindu Dharma. In the Ramayana, there's the Lakshman Gita, Kakbhushundi Gita. In the Bhagavad, there's the Uddhav Gita, a Gopika Gita. In the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, we have the Sati Gita, Yogi Gita. What does the term Gita mean? Gita, in a grammatical way, in the dictionary definition, all it means is something that's sung. It's a song. But in a more spiritual way, Gita are the words that help us stand back up when we've lost, when we're down and out, when we feel like we can't go on any further, when we feel like giving up. Those words that help us get back up, those words that help us continue to fight, those words that make us stronger, that's a Gita. Krishna Bhagavan is going to give Arjuna Gita here. These are God's words. Throughout all of the lectures, we're going to constantly refer back to this point. What we hear is incredibly important. In 1982, one of our senior Swamis of the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, Swayam Prakash Swami, also known lovingly as Dr. Swami, he was traveling in North America. He met a person who had lost his son recently in an accident. And the loss of his own son hurt so much on that person that for months he had stopped going to any temple. He had lost all faith in God. And by chance, he came into contact with Swayam Prakash Swami. Swayam Prakash Swami went to his house. And when he was trying to speak to him, this person was not having it. Now, satsang, if I had to give it an example, satsang is like an auto repair garage. Sometimes when there's smaller problems, smaller swamis like myself, we can be the mechanics and we can do an oil change. We can fix something small. But when the problem is bigger, you need experts. You need experts like Swayam Prakash Swami, like Dr. Swami. But when the problem is even bigger than that, then you have to go to the president of the company. Dr. Swami told the devotee, he said, "You're not listening to anything I have to say, but I have a request for you. Can I make a phone call?" He said, "Yes. Who do you want to call?" "I need to call India. Is that okay?" The person eased up a bit. He's like, "You're at my house and you need to call India. Who do you need to call?" He said, "I want to call Pramukh Swami Maharaj." And Dr. Swami called Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He explained the situation. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj spoke to the devotee for just 2 to 3 minutes. And in that small discourse, he explained to him what life is really like and why he should continue his fight. Not give up because he lost his son. And live another good life, continue to live his life in honor of his son. When the devotee put the phone down, he folded his hands to Dr. Swami and he said that if Pramukh Swami Maharaj had not spent those 2 minutes talking to me and my wife had already decided that on XYZ date we were going to commit suicide. They had given up on life entirely. Pramukh Swami Maharaj spoke to them for 2 minutes. He gave them a Gita, a personal Gita. And in 2 minutes, he gave them the energy they needed to fight against life again and to continue. That's what the Gita does. Krishna Bhagavan tells Arjuna, Uttishta Parantapa. He's shaking Arjuna with his words. And Arjuna then looks up to Krishna Bhagavan. And in the second chapter, 7th couplet, Arjuna looks to Krishna and he says, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava. Pruchami tvam dharma samudha cheta. Yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme. Shishyas teham. Shadi mam tvam prapannam. This is perhaps one of the most important couplets throughout the entire Bhagavad Gita. The 2nd chapter, 7th couplet, 7th shlok. Arjuna is telling Krishna Bhagavan, I accept what you've told me. That spiritually, emotionally, I have completely lost everything I have. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava. Pruchami tvam. So I'm asking you, just you, because I don't know what to do. Dharma samudha cheta. Tell me what's good for me. Yat shreya. Syan nishchitam bruhi tanme. Shishyas teham. I am your disciple. Shadi mam tvam prapannam. Guide me. In 4 lines, Arjuna takes Sharanagati, refuge of Krishna Bhagavan. In the first line, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava, he accepts the flaw that Bhagavan tells him. Bhagavan says, you've become weak spiritually, emotionally. Arjuna doesn't deny it. He doesn't try to justify himself. Well, you would do anything in this situation. You're saying anything and anyone would have this. No excuses. He accepts it. This is what very important thing. Whenever we go to God, whenever we go to our Guru, quite often they may show us our faults. And when they show us our faults, instead of arguing back, trying to justify ourselves, if we accept our faults, if we confess our sins, then we can move on to the next step. Arjun isn't the best person in the war. Let's remember, he's not the most moral. That's Yudhishthir. He's not the most ethical. That again is Yudhishthir. He's not the strongest. That's Bhim. He's not the smartest. That's Sadev. He's not the most handsome. That's Nakul. Everyone has something better. He's not even the best archer. That's Ekalavya. But the saving grace for Arjun is that no matter what problem he has in his life, he confesses his problems. He goes right to God. Pruchami Tvam. One person. I'm asking you. I'm not asking anyone else. He could have asked his family for guidance at this time. Now, had he asked them, they would have done whatever they could to help Arjun. But there's a difference here. When we go to our loved ones, it's not that they don't want to help us, but the problem is they don't know how to help us. There's an anecdote to explain this a little better. There was a man who bought a new pair of pants. And when he bought them, he thought to himself that tomorrow morning I have to catch an early flight for a business meeting. I want to wear these pants on that flight. But the pants are 2 inches too long at the bottom. He went home and he saw his wife making dinner that day. He went to his wife while she was making dinner and he told her that I've got these pants. I want to wear them tomorrow to my business meeting. I have an early flight. If you can trim 2 inches off the bottom, then it would be great. His wife didn't give him much of a response. He went to his daughter. His daughter was on social media at the time. His teenage daughter also, he told her the same thing. These pants, 2 inches too long. I want you to trim the bottom. She didn't give him a response. So he went to his son. His son was reading some book at the time. He told his son the same thing. Pants, 2 inches too long. Trim, cut. Then he left. And then he thought to himself, let me tell my mother. She's here with me as well. He went to his mother. His mother was watching TV at the time. And his mother was watching TV. He came to his mother and from the side he said, I've got these pants. They're 2 inches too long. If you could trim 2 inches from the bottom, I can wear them for my business meeting tomorrow. And he felt confident. That night after he ate dinner, he went to sleep, confidently thinking to himself that I've told 4 people, one of them will take care of it. Now that night, the wife, before she went to sleep, she thought to herself that our anniversary is coming up. And if I want to get something good from my husband, then I have to make him happy. And an easy way to make him happy would be to trim his pants. So she went to the kitchen, took out the pair of scissors, cut 2 inches from the bottom and sewed it Then the daughter thought to herself before she went to sleep, she thought my birthday's coming up, and if I want something from dad, something nice, then I gotta make him happy. She went to the kitchen, took out the scissors, and cut 2 inches from the bottom. The son thought to himself, I'm going to start school again soon, and back to school, I need a new set of clothes, and if I want to get a new set of clothes, then I need to make an investment into the emotional bank balance of dad. So he went to the kitchen, took the scissors, and cut 2 inches from the bottom. And his mother had already gone to sleep. She was old. But then she woke up at night to use the bathroom and she thought to herself that even though he's married, he still needs his mother. Look, let me show them how I do things. So she put on her glasses in the middle of the night, she took the scissors and she cut 2 inches off the bottom. The next morning, when this man woke up before everyone else to catch his flight, he put on the pants and they were shorts. So this is a small story that shows us that everyone wanted to do a good job for their friend or their husband or their father or their son, but nobody knew how. Saru karvu tu, saru karta avriyu nahi. That's the difference. If Arjun had gone to Yudhishthir or Bhim or Nakul or Sadev or even Draupadi, everyone would have given him some guidance on how to get rid of this problem. But what would that guidance have done? Would it have actually solved the problem or just treated some of the symptoms? By going to Krishna Bhagwan, by telling the right person, he turned his Vishad into Vishad Yog and he got a solution, a proper solution. And in that, he asks for what's good for him. Yat Shreya Syan Nishchitam Bruhitanme. In the Kathopanishad, Yam Raja, the god of death, is speaking to Nachiketa. And he tells Nachiketa that there are 2 paths in this world. One path is Pre, and the other path is Shrey. Nachiketa asks, what's the difference between these 2 paths? Yam Raja, he says, Pre brings you to me, and Shrey takes you to God. Pre is getting what you want. Shrey is getting what you need. That's the difference. If you get what you want, you go to hell. And if you get what you need, then you go to heaven. That's what Yam Raja explains to Nachiketa. Here, Arjun could have asked, Yat preyasyan nishchitam bruhitame. Tell me what I want to hear. But he doesn't ask for that. He knows, don't tell me what I want to hear, tell me what I need to hear. And when he tells this to Krishna Bhagwan, he closes this statement with his hands folded and he says, Shishis Deham. The word shish comes from the Sanskrit verb shas, which means to be guided. He's asking his guru for guidance. He's asking God for guidance here. He's going to imbibe that guidance. He's ready to do it. He's become a receptacle for it. So whenever we have any problems in our lives, the way we can solve that problem, our saving grace is to be like Arjuna. First, accept the problem. Don't deny it. Second, go to God and Guru and ask that God and Guru, what is good for me at this time? Don't tell me what I want to hear, tell me what I need to hear. And remind them, Shishyas Deham, I am open to your guidance. Now, please guide me. If we can do that, then we'll get all the benefits that Krishna Bhagwan gives to Arjuna throughout the entire Mahabharata war. In discussing those benefits, we'll spend the next few lectures in this series. Until then, I pray that we can imbibe this sense of Shishyatva, become a disciple like this in our own lives. Astu.
Thank you for listening, everyone. That was very short when it comes to the amount of verses we went through. We did not go deep into the second chapter at all. All of that was just from the first few verses of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So we've certainly got a lot more to explore together next time when it comes to the second chapter, which, by the way, is an introduction to yoga. That is the name of the second chapter. I look forward to continuing this series with you next week. There was that point that I wanted to add commentary to of you follow the path of Preya, which is the path of getting personal pleasure that leads to hell. I am not so certain that hell is a good translation of what this equivalent concept is in the East as compared to the West. Our idea in English when we hear this word hell, it's not something that we like to imagine. Fire and brimstone and eternal damnation. The equivalent concept of that, Naraka, in Eastern philosophy is very, very different. But I don't blame the Acharya for using that because he wasn't born in the West. Similarly, the concept of heaven is also very different. But it's just the dichotomy of if you go on the path of personal pleasure, selfish gain, that you are destined to suffer. But only for as long as you're not serving the whole. Because if you don't serve the whole of life that you're a part of, then there will naturally be a deep-seated longing for something greater, and nothing will satisfy you, no matter how much you gratify your senses or seek any sort of personal power. With the path of Shreya, now that certainly leads to long-lasting happiness and bliss, long-term success and satisfaction through selfless service to others, the path of loving the whole which you are a part of, and that includes your body, your mind. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Now we can go back into Manana for a little bit for the question of the day, and then we'll end with a really nice meditation at the end. Let's get our jazz noir back into. Now, if anyone ever wants to share insight, you are welcome to, on everything that we do, especially this session. Thank you, dear Inevitable, for the quintet of roses that you had sent several minutes ago by now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Perry, thank you for the rose you sent. Hare Krishna. Gabriella, thank you for your heart mate. Om Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodaya. And dear John Simon, thank you for your heart mate. Om Namo Vishnave. Well, we can certainly talk about that concept, dear Josan, but I can only tell others what they are open to hearing, and I can't choose what they are receptive to. But yes, ignoring grief is not something we can do to make it go away, as grief is the process itself of restructuring our very own heart to be open again. I look forward to the opening of the second chapter, Tattvamasi. But what do you expect? Indian storytellers, they are often infamous at telling tangential stories within stories within stories that you never actually get to the point. But maybe that is the point. It's the journey, not the destination. Stevie G, you're wondering if I can check your Instagram message at this moment? Sure, I can read it out. Just give me 1 second. Glad you like the teaching, dear Adri. I pray for the organization of your bathroom. Okay, Stevie G, Stevie Thomas III. There you are. You had shared at 11:15 this morning. Namaste, dear Yam. I have a request. Now, I know you already agreed to having Om Namah Shivaya be chanted at some point very soon, but is there any way we can do like as many meditations related to Shiva? And I am asking this because Mahashivaratri, literally from my own powerful experience, is more than just a Hindu holiday. There is actually something so powerful about this day. Having your spine upright and staying up all night gives a yogi immense benefits on this day. And I just want not only me but everyone to be as receptive as possible on Mahashivaratri. Please. Last year I was literally taken over by either Shiva or Sadhguru, or both, or just the divine in general. It was so magical, and I would love everyone to feel some magic, because that magic can encourage people to keep going in many ways. Very sweet message, dear Stevie G. Yes, I actually already planned on doing so for Mahashivaratri. Thank you, Gina, for your roses. Om Namah Shivaya. And dear Neon Jello Pack, thank you for your septat of roses too. Om Bhram Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Good night, dear Noor. Peace be upon you. Thank you, P-Flomatics, for your perfume and friendship necklace. And dear Raven, thank you for the galaxy. You do a lot of work to support this community, and I'm very grateful for you. I hope you know that. Om Bhairava Rudraya Maha Rudraya Kala Rudraya Kalpanta Rudraya Veera Rudraya Rudra Rudraya Ghora Rudraya Aghora Rudraya Martanda Rudraya Anda Rudraya Brahmanda Rudraya Chanda Rudraya Prachanda Rudraya Tanda Rudraya Shura Rudraya Veera Rudraya Bhava Rudraya Bhima Rudraya Atala Rudraya Vitala Rudraya Sutala Rudraya Mahatala Rudraya Rasatala Rudraya Talatala Rudraya Patala Rudraya Namo Namah. What does that chant mean? Well, it's celebrating the many epithets of Rudra, which is the one who roars the universe in and out of being. For example, it starts with Bhairava Rudraya. It means to Rudra, who is the annihilator of karma. Bhairava Rudraya Maha Rudraya, to Rudra who's great. Kalpanta Rudraya, the one who brings the end of ages. Kala Rudraya, to the one who art time itself. Veera Rudraya, to the warrior. Rudra Rudraya, who is the principal to the quintessential Rudra himself, the roarer. Ghora Rudraya, to the fearsome one. Aghora Rudraya, to the one even beyond fear. It goes like that. I love space dust. The last 7 epithets are very interesting. Atala Rudraya, Vitala Rudraya, Sutala Rudraya, etc. Those are actually the names for the 7 lower realms. Normally we associate the divine with higher realms. Why not enumerate the heavens? But the point is that Rudra is so metal that his divinity even pervades the nether realms too. That whenever we are experiencing any sort of suffering, that is Rudra, here to empower us in a very tough love kind of way. It's a way of making anything divine. Thank you, Niangelo Pack. May you have a wonderful sleep whenever you get there. Dear Anna, you're wondering if I can talk about the kirtana I went to. Did I dance? I did not dance. Here's something to know about me, is that many of you might already know I don't listen to much music, personally, when I'm not on live. But the reason that is because I just lose myself in it. Some people, when they listen to music, they get up and dance. It activates their Shakti. But me, I just dissolve into myself. I enter this state. I actually get very still. And I leave my body. So I had a lot of difficulty remaining in my body when listening to the kirtana. By the end of it, I was so lost that the person who was offering prasadam to me, they had to get my attention by touching my feet. Sucked me back into my body. Ooh, what's this? Thank you. But we chanted for Ganesha, we chanted for Nandi, we chanted for Shiva, we chanted for Krishna, and we chanted for Radha. And we chanted to each other at the end as well. Dear Gino, you shared feels overwhelming to try to remember all these concepts. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. You never have to. None of the things I share here, even the most prized possessions of thought, I don't try to remember them at all. Whenever I'm in a difficult situation, I'm not thinking, what was that one thing that I was taught that was really important? No. I just let it seep into my subconscious and naturally change me over time from the inside out. You never have to memorize or remember a single thing shared here or in any... It's like when we were in grade school and we're just sitting listening to our teacher. Were we writing things down? And then when we got home from class, we read the notes over and over again? Not until high school, university, right? But just listening like the heart of a child, you never have to memorize anything. You just absorb it. It becomes a part of you. So yeah, if you feel overwhelmed, that's okay. Hello, Goofy Goosey. We chanted that Bhairava mantra on October 19th. Oh, it's a good day for that. Hello, Sassy Sue. Josan, you ask, can I explain consecration and how it works? Yeah. Suppose I give you this bar of selenite. Take it. Now, a bar of selenite is just a bar of selenite. But maybe just by knowing its name, this is selenite. Ah, now you have one connection to it. Josan, you've been here for a while. We've come to know each other a little bit. Maybe this coming from me adds another meaningful quality to it. But what if I told you that this bar of selenite was gifted to me by my mother, who I really look up to, and that she blessed it? Now you'd be holding it in your hands like, wow, this is a family heirloom. If it was gifted from his mother to him and then to me, does that make me family? And what if I told you that this was picked out of a very holy cave, and that cave was where a yogi meditated for 1,000 years? The more we tell a story about an object, the more we imbue that object with meaning. And if we continue doing that, imagine if we spend a whole week doing ceremonies, imbuing this with meaning. By the end of it, you wouldn't even want to touch it, right? It's like, wow, this is so holy that I don't want to disgrace it. I'm blessed to even be in the room with it, right? But before that process, it was just, just another funny looking rock. Consecration is the imbuing of meaning. Seeking higher perspectives to reveal the divinity through something. Now, at no point does the object itself become a form of the divine. That would be idolatry. But just like a temple, just like a place of worship, or any religious artifact, the story that it tells in association with the divine makes it a kind of instrument that connects us to the divine. And when you do that with a statue, it becomes a murti. When you do that with geometric images, they become yantras. When you do it with sound, it becomes a mantra. And when you do it with a certain technique or practice, it becomes a tantra. That makes sense. Good question, Anne. What is the question of the day? Hello, Orla. Hello, Sachi. And thank you, I am Princess Mom, for the love you. Om Madinaya Namah. Anyway, I do have a question of the day today. Today I'm wondering, what can we learn from our past suffering? Is there a lesson there? Is there any experience that brings out some truth from the difficulties we faced in the past? And can I turn the music down just a tad? Yeah, thank you for asking. There we are. Nothing shares Casey. Everything shares Curly Fry. I am Princess Mom, you share. Extract the lesson, learn, and try to do better. If it was brought on by our own actions, yeah. And you share that suffering is a part of life. Yes, it's a mark of existence. Dukkha in Sanskrit. So much, says Stevie G. Well, let's dive into that. To heal into positive, shares Sassy Sue. And thank you, Banjo, for your finger heart. Radhe or Radhe. Prime, you share, we can learn the pain as a teacher. Tattvamasi, you share the grooves from it, and how we tend to fall on that groove from time to time, how deep it is. Samskaras. We learn how to suffer less, shares Lauren. That is very true. How to surrender, shares Anna. Dear Michelle, you share, you can't avoid it. You just have to get through it somehow. Yeah. Dear KCD, would you like to share some of the experiences that you've gone through? Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, you share that this too shall pass. Yeah. To look forward, share Sassy Sue. I am Princess Mom, you share. Moksha comes to those that see medicine in all, whether painful or pleasant. I love that. That's very beautiful. Riri, you share, it's a sacred piece of you to honor and will help you understand and love those around you even deeper. Stevie G, you share, there's always going to be downs that match the level of intensity with the ups. This is the binary of life. Banjo, you share, we learn how to suffer better next time. Clever word choice. Dear Jack, you share, we learn how to avoid self-caused near occasions of suffering. Yeah. Tattvamasi, we learn that it's also impermanent. Exactly. Josan, you share, we can learn why giving empathy to others is important, because you never know what they had to go through, given that some of the things that you've gone through are possible. Jaderade, you share, we can learn that you don't have to suffer alone. Absolutely. Matthew, share, suffering teaches resilience, empathy, and the value of life, driving personal growth. I see that. Kilobite, you share, teaches us how to suffer well, but understand that there's only so much we can do to prevent or decrease it. There are going to be challenges in life, for sure. Stevie G, you share, it's better to take it on and move on than to make it such torture and suffering. Yeah, when we resist our experience, that only adds to the suffering. Dear Jay, you share, suffering is holding on to an idea that things should be different, always an opportunity to let go. Dear Tattvamasi, you share how everyone shares suffering and how it impacts all of us the same in its core. Yeah, I was listening to the Dhammapada, one of the scriptures of the teachings of the Buddha, and he was saying how no one likes to suffer. That was one of the verses. That no one likes to suffer and we all want to be happy. And it's such a simple idea that we're all afraid of violence. We're all afraid of death at some level. And we all seek liberation from that suffering. And that unites us. Oh, dear Michelle. I know you'll get rest when you need to. Dear Sassy Sue, you share stable mentality, mental health. We can learn so much about how to take care of ourselves from these experiences. Yeah. Stevie G, you share that everything doesn't grow from comfort. It grows from rain and pain and or discomfort. To grow beyond our comfort zone naturally entails experiencing some discomfort. And Myrna, you share, we can learn that we don't have to suffer to learn things. I like that. Shrihasya Chitrakara, you share, if the suffering was easily forgotten, then it wouldn't be extraordinary grace. Good night, dear Anne. And Banjo, you add, we can learn about our own needs and boundaries. 100%. We become closer in touch with our own vulnerability. And Stevie G, you share, we can always learn what we need to work on from each past uncomfortable memory. Yeah. Make sure your tattoos are timeless. I like that, Kilapai. Suffering is a part of life. And I'm happy to be alive. Dear Raven, you share you learned never to resist your pain in any form, to act in love, to live in tremendous gratitude. It's beautiful. Riri, you share we learn how to be more authentic. And Tatwamasi, you say your worries about work is bigger than your kid's lost toy. But is it? It might hurt the same for both. When we are a child, we have only our limited reference points to base our suffering from. The grief of a lost toy is the biggest grief you've experienced in this life. And so it feels just as intense as the biggest grief you've experienced when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, etc. I am Princess Mom. You share our suffering can also prepare us to have more compassion towards others. And this is true. Yeah, there are lots of things that are out of our control. Maybe stemming from past lives. Hello, Lakonin. Nice to have you here. Thank you, everyone, for exploring this question of the day with me. We'll pause it there. But if you're still typing one, you're welcome to send it anyway. We can always explore these topics whenever. Like, dear Mama JJ, you share one cannot have appreciation for anything without suffering, and there is no light without darkness. When you've experienced the darkest parts of life, when you step into the light again, it's just that much brighter. Good evening, Al. Thank you, everyone. This has been a wonderful manana. Who here remembers what the word manana translates to? It's the main part of our Saṅgha. The part that we're going to transition from in a minute. What does manana translate to in Sanskrit? Anyone know? Practicing. You're on the right page, dear Mirna. The last section, Nididhyasana, is dedicated to practicing. To take it in, to think through, discussion and query, contemplation, reflection, yes. These are all accurate. Interestingly, one of the more literal translations is actually debate. Very compassionate, kind, empathetic debate. Which means if ever we have perspectives that are unaligned in some way, that we realign them. We ask questions to align them in some way. Manana makes you think of the Muppets. We've lost that ability that the ancestors had to debate to understand. Indeed, there were many dharmic rules for debate, that it was never about proving the other person wrong. It was about sharing understanding and challenging the limitations of that understanding. Not to dismantle it, but to show its strengths. I think that's a beautiful thing. Sharing and growth. Hello, brave Bella. Thank you, Deneen, for your heart mate. Om Ang Saraswatyai Namah. And thank you, dearest brave Bella, for your finger heart. Om Namah Karim Ambita Me Shrim Nadita Me Harim Devita Me Ang Saraswatyai Swaha. That's right, Sassy. So let's transition to our final segment, which is Nididhyasana. I really look forward to this meditation session. It's a mantra, or it's a series of about 169 mantras that I've been waiting so patiently to share. And with the coming of Mahashivaratri soon, I know that this is the perfect time. We're going to listen to some Vedic hymns chanted with perfect pronunciation and intonation. It's said that Sanskrit is a very holy, sacred language, and when pronounced perfectly, when you go into the forest, the jungles, to hear the original multi-thousand-year intonation, which is kept very secret, then just hearing mantras being chanted in this way will have magical properties and effects. And this is no exception. This is the Sri Rudram Namakam, an ancient Vedic chant invoking Rudra, an epithet for Shiva, for purification, protection, and divine grace, a hymn of cosmic power, dissolving obstacles and awakening inner peace. I am going to probably clock out of my body upon hearing this, and I wish you all the best to stay inside your body.
Namaskaram. Let me provide a small introduction of Sri Rudram and some interesting facts about it before recitation. Sri Rudram appears in 4th Kanda, 5th Prashna or Prapataka in Taittiriya Shaka of Krishna Yajurveda. Sri Rudram has 169 mantras in 11 anuvakas. Usually, Sri Rudram is recited during Abhishekam to Lord Shiva, and during Archana, Sri Rudra Kramam is recited. When it is recited 11 times, it is called Ekadasha Rudram. When it is 11 square, it is 121 times, it is called Lagu Rudram. 11 cube, that is 1331 times, it is called Maharudram. 11 power 4, that is 14,641 times, it is called Atirudram. When Sri Rudram is recited in a place, it protects the place of recitation and the surrounding areas as well from natural calamities and from any type of viruses. Sri Rudram is powerful and great because it has Panchakshara mantra, that is 5-letter word, Namah Shivaya, in the 8th Anuvaka.
So just to emphasize that point, this is the earliest source of where the mantra Om Namah Shivaya comes from, which is perhaps the most famous Hindu mantra other than Om. If you've ever heard Om Namah Shivaya, this is the ancient text in which that mantra first appears.
Our ancient tradition says, when we recite or listen to Sri Rudram, the very next moment we get purified. When we do Abhisheka with pure water, we will get rain. For getting children, do Abhishekam with milk. When we do Abhishekam with water along with the kurcha, that is darba, one becomes free from all diseases. Those who desires of huge wealth, do Abhisheka with ghee, honey and sugarcane juice. These 11 anuvakas are followed by 2 mantras from Rigveda, which we have recited in Rigveda style. We have rendered Sri Rudram in a high pitch, with a moderate speed, with a good rhythm, with utmost clarity of pronunciation and perfect swaras. We deployed lot of time, effort and money in bringing out this melodious Vedic chant. This is rendered by Sri Balaji in left, Sri Narayana Bhatt Ganapatigal in right, and Sri K. Suresh in the center.
So put
You
your
can feel
headphones
the
on.
depth, punch and the perfect synchronization of these 3 voices. We have provided the script along with the accent marks in Sanskrit, Tamil, Kannada and English, phonetic English in different videos to follow the Vedic recitation and for learning. You can share this video to your friends and relatives who are interested in Vedas. We wish the listeners and the learners of this Vedic chant to get their desired benefits in their life. Please give your honest feedback after listening to this Vedic chant in the comment section of this video or by email to support@ganapati.com. Thanking you. Namaskaram.
गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः यात इषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्या यातवतया नो रुद्रमृडया याते रुद्रशिवा तनोरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः यामिषुङ्गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रताम् कुरु माहि गुंसेः पुरुषम् जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगत यक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत् अध्यवोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक् अहीगिश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षुः श्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेडयीमहे असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनं विश्वा भूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरार्त्नियोर्ज्याम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वपा अवतत्य धनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षसते शुधे निशीर्य शल्यानाम् मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव विज्यन् धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुतते नमो बाहुभ्याम् तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निधेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाम् च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनाम् पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनाम् पतये नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानाम् पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानाम् पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगताम् पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तताविने क्षेत्राणाम् पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानाम् पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्थपतये वृक्षाणाम् पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणाम् पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनाम् पतये नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनाम् पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नभीताय धावते सत्त्वनाम् पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनाम् पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्तेनानाम् पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणाम् पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्तायूनाम् पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानाम् पतये नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिघागुंसद्भ्यो मुष्णताम् पतये नमो नमोऽसि मद्भ्यो नक्तञ्चरभ्यः प्रकृन्तानाम् पतये नमो नम उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानाम् पतये नमो नम इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नम आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नम आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविध्यन्तेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम उगणाभ्यस्त्रिगुंहतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गृत्सेभ्यो गृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथिभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहेतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम इषुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यः स्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यः स्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च नमो मेढुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नम आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्र्याय च शीभ्याय च नम ऊर्म्याय चावस्वन्याय च नमः स्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय चापरजाय च नमो मध्यमाय चापगल्भाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोऽभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नम उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय चावसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नम आशुषेणाय चाशुरथाय च नमः शूराय चावभिन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरोथिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषु धिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णेशवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूद्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय चावट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय चावर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नम ईद्रियाय चातप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय चारुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नम उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नम आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्प्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नम इरण्याय च प्रपथ्याय च नमः किगुंशिलाय च क्षयणाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमस्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेष्ट्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो प्याय चोलप्याय च नम ऊर्व्याय च सूर्म्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नम आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वह्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुंहृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नम आनिर्हतेभ्यो नम आमीवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषाम् पुरुषाणामेषाम् पशूनाम् माभेर्मा रोमो येषाम् किञ्चनाममते या ते रुद्रशिवा तनोः शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुम् रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभरामहे मतिम् यथा नः शमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वम् पुष्टम् ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रोतनो मयस्कृधि क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्छञ्च योश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदस्यामतव रुद्रप्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुत मानो अर्भकम् मान उक्षन्तमुत मान उक्षितम् मानो वधेः पितरम् मोत मातरम् प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्न उत पूरुषघ्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मेते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूह्यधा च नः शर्म यच्छद्विबर्हाः स्तुहि श्रुतम् गर्तसदञ्युवानम् मृगन्न भीममुपहत्नुमुग्रम् मृडाजरिद्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरामघवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमीढ्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडया मीढुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधम् निधाय कृत्तिम् वसान आचर पिनाकम् बिभ्रदागहि विकिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुम् हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रधा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृधि सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्याम् तेषागुम् सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठाः सर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठादिवगुम् रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः कपर्दिनः ये अन्नेषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पथाम् पथिरक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सृकावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुम् सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्याम् येऽन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नम् वातो वर्षमिषभस्तेभ्यो 10 प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणा 10 प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु ते यन्द्विष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टितम् वोजम्भे दधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिम् पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु यवोषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु तमुष्टु हि यस्विषुः सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयाति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशौ मनसाय रुद्रन्नमोभिर्देवमसूरन्दुवस्य अयम् मे हस्तो भगवानयम् मे भगवत्तरः अयम् मे विश्वभेषजोऽयम् शिवाभीमर्शनः ये ते सहस्रमयुतम् पाशा मृत्यो मर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्नेनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Tat Sat. Thank you very much for listening to the Sri Rudram Namakam. That's only one half of the full Sri Rudram. There's the Namakam, and then there's another part. Shatakam. Maybe we'll have to do the second part next time. Namaste. That concludes our Nididhyasana. I hope you liked that. It is one of my favorite Vedic hymns. You learned a new Sanskrit letter. Oh, it's one of those Vedic sounds that are really rare, yeah. Gom, 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 gom. Yeah, there's actually tons of Vedic sounds that didn't make it into Devanagari. All sorts of different variations of anuswaras and visargas. That's a guttural anuswara. Gom. There's almost no information online about them, however. You really have to go to a teacher, to a guru. Thank you, dear Dag, for the garland headpiece that you sent as we began. Hari Om Tat Sat. I hope you are feeling better, dear Michelle. Thank you, Dark Night Star, for your nonet of roses. Om Pram Hanumate Namah. Dear Volkun, you wish it didn't end your deepen meditation, right? That was just one recitation, but at the beginning, the host was sharing how chanting it with powers of 11. 11 squared, 11 cubed, 11 hypercubed. Very magical. So you can listen to that on loop. You get the benefits, every power of 11. Thank you, Tattvamasi, for your trio of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. You might have heard one of my favorite mantras. There's actually 3 different favorite mantras of mine embedded in the Sri Rudram Namakam. There's Om Namah Shivaya. There's also Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. And there's also the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Om Tryambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Bhushti Vardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Yeah, the cucumber mantra. You were deep in another plane, dear Jay. I find that that Vedic hymn seems to have that effect. Yes. So we've come to the end of our Saṅgha. Thank you very much. This live stream will be uploaded to my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel, along with the meditations. And I'll put a link to the original video and the meditation so you can find it. And the readings have their own playlists too. I love that, Jay. When the gong ringed at the end, you felt an intense blast of pure love. Indeed. Yeah. Yes, most Vedic hymns are chanted at a high pitch. Yeah, just tradition. High frequency, high place of resonance. Anuswara, anunasika, nasalized sounds. You'll be looking forward to that recording, dear Stevie G. It's a good one. Nice to have you here, dear Don Soila. Stevie G, you share, if you play that mantra, it can benefit you and your surroundings. That's right. Chanting of that mantra is, among other things, used to bestow protection from calamities and disease, not just you, but your whole environment. You feel revitalized. Not rebellious, dear Michelle. Maybe a little both. Carol, you share you started getting feelings of unrest and frustration. That's good. Yeah, that's Rudra. Going to work. Thank you, dear Lauren, for your rose. Om Hrim Namah Shivaya. Stevie G, you wonder, what's the drum sound in the background? That is the Damaru of Shiva. No, just kidding. That's my sister on the treadmill she got for Christmas. Dear Queen Silver Foxy, Shorty Snack Size, thank you for your pair of 2025s and your friendship necklace. Om Ham Jum So Namah Shivaya. Stevie G, you've got good headphones, it seems. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to the light, from death to deathlessness. Om. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Thank you to my lovely moderators for helping keep the peace. And if there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive for you or anybody next time, let me know. Hold me accountable to that. Keep me humble. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.